Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. So today I'm going to talk about this book. It's called Sergio Aragone's Groo, and that is the creator. Sergio, is the creator of this character, who was originally called Groo the Wanderer, and I think he's still called that. But for this comic run, it just ran as his Groo. So it's on Image Comics. He wrote this for Marvel originally, and it was called Groo the Wanderer. So anyways, I didn't know or care about all that when I first read this. I was a little kid, I guess I would have been 10, maybe? So yeah, I was about 10 years old. Anyways, it was on the rack at the grocery store, and it was something I gravitated towards because of all of the action. And I was really into, like, armies and war and stuff like that. I think most boys are. So this is Groo number 3 on Image Comics from '95. So we'll go ahead and open it up. It's got a little funny comic kind of at the beginning, and it's basically the two creators welcoming you to issue 3, because Sergio Aragones did create this, but he had help from Mark Evanier, so he did editing and other stuff. So anyways, we start out with Groo, and he's kind of based on Conan the Barbarian. I didn't know that, I didn't, or anything, but he starts out, and there's two armies at war with each other, and it starts out and he's attacking one, and just defeating them single-handedly. And then right in the middle, he turns and starts attacking the other army. So he kind of goes ahead, and he's attacking the blue army, and they're like, why are you doing this, you can't attack both sides. And he says, this is a war, and I'm warring. And he says, no, you can't attack us because someone tell him why he can't attack us. He does not have a uniform. So, let's see. But that doesn't seem fair. Oh, that's the rule. You have to have a uniform. So he says, well, that's not good. I want to attack. So they say the other side doesn't have this rule, so you can attack them. So he goes over, and instead of attacking them, he just takes the hat off of one of the soldiers who's afraid of him on the yellow side, and then goes back to attacking the blue side and says, I now have a uniform. So it's a really funny comic. It has a lot of action and excitement. So basically the yellow side wins because that's who Groo was helping the most. And he goes ahead, and they're victorious. And he's contemplating. He's like, they will give me a medal at least. And this is his dog, his sidekick, and he's thinking the same thing. They'll at least give him a medal. I mean, he did all the work. But the story is called The General's Hat. And all of the troops are praising this guy here, who is the general of the army. Huzzah for general, double huzzah, and all that. And Groo is kind of like, well, why are they cheering the general? I did all the fighting. Or, we did all the fighting, and I did most of it. So, and the soldiers are saying that's how it always is. The generals always get the credit. And so Groo is, he's fed up with that. He thinks that's pretty dumb. So he leaves, and he leaves his army and walks through the defeated army and goes over to their general here, who's laying in this bed, and he switches hats. He takes the general's hat. He took our general's hat. Someone stop him. No, you stop him. No, you stop him. So Groo's got the hat, and I guess that's all you need to be a general, is have the hat. So now that I look like a general, I need an army. So he's going from town to town. Well, actually, he's going to this town first to find someone to conscript to be his army, to find some people. But in this town, which is called Akula, I guess. Yeah, the army of Akula has but one man. So he finds the army, but it's just one guy. And he's like, well, I can't work with just one man. So he leaves, and he goes to Akwai, it looks like another town, and he asks where the army is, and they say they're by the tower. And he gets there, and now it's two guys. And they say, well, our army is twice as big as the other towns, so we're not worried about having only two. So he leaves, and he goes to yet another town, Alba, I guess the name of the town. So there, he gets to this town, and they have an army of 4. So their army is twice as big as the last town, so they're not concerned. And let's see, they recognize that he has a hat, a special hat, so they say, you must be a general. We've never had a general. So they basically send him to see, I guess, the king. These towns all have a king, not a mayor, but you know, that's how they do it in that place. So let's see, he's got, so the king is like, we don't need a general, we've never been in a war. And Groo's like, but I got this hat. And the king's like, whatever, I don't care, go ahead, you know, it doesn't matter to me, be their general for a while, and it'll make the people feel safe. So he goes back to his troops, these 4 guys, and he says, the first thing I order is lunch. So they go and get food. Meanwhile, there's this side thing, kind of, where there's a spy character. But it's really funny because he thinks he's a really great spy, but even the children notice. Who is that man spying on everyone? Oh, that's Espio, our local snooper. Pay him no mind. So he's sneaking around, and he goes back to the town that had the 2 guys, Alba, and tells them that they just hired a general. So the king basically gets worried about that and tells the spy to go back and check again, you know, keep an eye on everything. And he goes to the 2 soldiers and tells them, we need a general. And they say, oh, a guy came earlier and talked to us. So they go off to find Groo. And Groo's finishing up lunch with his army of 4 guys right there. And I don't want this video to go too long, so I'm going to do this in 2 parts. So be sure to check out part 2. I'll be posting that next here shortly.